What if the most beautiful object in our night sky was actually a silent, lethal presence? As your spacecraft glides toward those serene, swirling bands of amber and cream, you feel awe. But then, the clicking starts. Your radiation sensors are screaming a warning your biology can't possibly comprehend. You aren't approaching a peaceful planet. You're entering the forbidden territory of a cosmic giant. In today's video, we'll dive into Jupiter's extreme radiation environment and its history as a world eater that shaped our solar system. By the end, you'll realize this giant is a spectacle of cosmic chaos hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the sheer, incomprehensible scale of the beast. We often see Jupiter in diagrams as a large circle next to a tiny Earth, but the numbers don't do it justice. If Earth were a nickel, Jupiter would be a basketball. You could fit over 1,300 Earths inside its volume. But mass is where things get truly terrifying. Jupiter is more than twice as massive as all the other planets in our solar system, combined. Every moon, every asteroid, Saturn's rings, Mars's dust, and the frozen wastes of Neptune. It's all just a rounding error compared to the sheer bulk of Jupiter. But here's the unsettling truth that astronomers are still grappling with. Jupiter is essentially a failed star. During its formation 4.5 billion years ago, it vacuumed up almost all the leftover hydrogen and helium from the sun's birth. If it had managed to grow just 80 times more massive, nuclear fusion would have ignited in its core. We wouldn't have a night sky with one sun. We would live in a binary star system. In that reality, Earth's orbit would have been so unstable that life likely never would have sparked. Instead, we got a brown dwarf wannabe, a gas giant with no solid surface, crushing pressures, and an appetite for destruction that shaped the fate of every world around it. If this cosmic horror fascinates you, hit subscribe to support our missions. Quick question, would you orbit Jupiter if you knew you could never land? Let us know below. Now, back to the madness. Let's talk about the weather, if you can even call it that. When you look at Jupiter, you're looking at a world-sized blender. The Great Red Spot is its most famous feature, a storm that has been raging for at least 400 years. This single vortex is wide enough to swallow the entire Earth, with room to spare. But recent data from the James Webb Space Telescope and the Juno mission has revealed that this isn't just a surface phenomenon. These storms are deep. They extend hundreds of miles into the interior. And the wind? At the edges of the Great Red Spot, wind speeds exceed 250 miles per hour. That sounds fast, but it's actually a calm day for Jupiter. Near the equator, jet streams tear across the atmosphere at over 370 miles per hour. These aren't just breezes. They are walls of high-pressure gas moving faster than the speed of sound. Scientists recently discovered mushballs. These are giant ammonia-rich hailstones. They plunge downward, dragging gas and water with them. On Jupiter, it doesn't just rain water, it rains slushy chemical bullets. But the real horror begins when you try to land, because you can't. There is no ground on Jupiter. If you fell into the atmosphere, you would just keep falling. At first, you'd be surrounded by clouds of ammonia ice. As you sink deeper, the light fades to a pitch-black void. The pressure begins to mount. Within minutes, the weight is crushing. It's like having an entire ocean sitting on your head. Deeper still, it gets impossible. Pressure reaches millions of times sea level. Here, physics simply breaks. Hydrogen, the simplest gas in the universe, is squeezed so hard it turns into a liquid metal. This liquid metallic hydrogen is a substance that doesn't exist naturally anywhere on Earth. It's a roiling, churning ocean of electricity. This leads us to Jupiter's most terrifying weapon, its magnetic field. Earth's magnetic field is a gentle shield that gives us the northern lights. Jupiter's magnetic field is a 20,000-volt cattle prod. It is the largest structure in the solar system. If it were visible to the naked eye from Earth, it would appear twice as large as the full moon in our sky. This field acts like a giant particle accelerator. It traps charged particles from the solar wind and whips them around at relativistic speeds, nearly the speed of light. These particles create radiation belts so intense that they are effectively a death sentence. When NASA's Juno spacecraft visits, it doesn't just orbit. It has to perform a high-stakes dance. To survive even a few years, Juno's brain is encased in a solid titanium vault that weighs over 400 pounds. Without that vault, the electronics would be vaporized within minutes. Think about that. We had to build an armored tank just to send a camera to take pictures. In 2003, the Galileo probe was sent on a suicide mission into the atmosphere. Before it was finally crushed and melted, it received a radiation dose equivalent to 25 million dental X-rays. Imagine standing on a hypothetical platform in the upper atmosphere. Radiation would melt your DNA before you could even draw a breath. This is Jupiter, the cosmic wrecking ball. We once called it our big brother, a protector that vacuumed up dangerous asteroids. But the truth is much more sinister. According to the Grand Tack Hypothesis, Jupiter didn't start where it is now. Early in the solar system's history, Jupiter migrated inward, moving as close to the Sun as Mars is today. As it moved, it acted like a gravitational snowplow. It shattered, forming protoplanets, ground them into dust, and flung them into the Sun. It is the reason Mars is so small. Jupiter stole all the construction material Mars needed to grow. It is also the reason the asteroid belt exists. That ring of rocks isn't a destroyed planet, it's the graveyard of planets that Jupiter refused to let form. We only exist because Saturn eventually pulled Jupiter back out, like a leash on a rabid dog. We've seen Jupiter's hunger in action. In July 1994, the world watched in horror as Jupiter's gravity captured comet Shoemaker-Levy 9. The planet didn't just eat the comet, it tore it into 21 separate fragments. When those pieces slammed into the atmosphere at 60 kilometers per second, the explosions were equivalent to millions of megatons of TNT. The scars left behind in the clouds were larger than the diameter of Earth. If that comet had hit us instead, game over, extinction. Some argue that Jupiter is a, quote, shield for Earth, but it might actually be a, quote, sniper. It deflects some comets, but its massive gravity also kicks stable asteroids out of orbit. It hurls them toward the inner solar system. Jupiter isn't trying to save us. It's playing a high-stakes game of cosmic billiards, and we're the target. Then there are the moons. Jupiter has 95 known moons. They are prisoners of a gravitational tyrant. Take Io. It's the most volcanic world we know, but not from internal heat. Jupiter's gravity kneads the moon like dough. This, quote, tidal heating makes the surface bulge 300 feet every day. It's a landscape of lava and fire. Jupiter simply won't let it be still. Then there's Europa. It hides a massive saltwater ocean under miles of ice. It's a prime target for alien life, but there's a catch. Europa sits in the heart of Jupiter's radiation belts. The surface is lethal. Any life there must be buried deep. They need miles of ice armor just to survive the planet they orbit. In late 2024, NASA launched the Europa Clipper mission, a multi-billion-dollar spacecraft designed specifically to see if anything can survive in Jupiter's shadow. It's a mission into the lion's den, Even the latest discoveries have only made Jupiter more mysterious. The Juno mission recently found that Jupiter's core isn't a solid ball of rock as we once thought. It's fuzzy. It's a dilute, mushy region of heavy elements mixed with hydrogen. One theory is that billions of years ago, a planet 10 times the mass of Earth slammed directly into Jupiter's core, liquefying it. Jupiter didn't just survive the impact, it absorbed the intruder. It ate a whole world and kept spinning. We also have new data from the James Webb Space Telescope. It reveals a hidden power source for Jupiter's aurorae, a high-speed jet in the upper atmosphere. We never knew it existed. This jet is 3,000 miles wide. It moves at speeds that defy current weather models. It's a reminder. Even after decades, we're only scratching the surface of this monster. So, why do we keep going back? Why risk billions of dollars in hardware to study a place that clearly wants to destroy everything we send? Because Jupiter is the key to everything. It is the oldest planet in the solar system. It holds the quote-unquote primordial recipe of the cloud that birthed our sun. By studying its quote-unquote mushball storms and its liquid metal oceans, we learn how the universe builds worlds. We study the monster to understand our own origin story. But let's be clear, there is a hard boundary here. Humans will never walk on Jupiter. We will never quote-unquote colonize its atmosphere. There is no flag to plant, no soil to claim. It is a world of pure energy and crushing force, a place where the laws of physics are pushed to their absolute limits. It represents the ultimate no trespassing sign in our solar system. When you look up at night and see that steady, bright light in the sky, remember what you're really looking at. You're looking at a storm that has been raging since before the dinosaurs. You're looking at a gravitational well that has decided the fate of entire worlds. You're looking at a radiation source that could silence your heart in minutes. Jupiter isn't the king of the planets because it's noble, or because it's a protector. It's the king because nothing else in our solar system was powerful enough to challenge it. It is a 4.5 billion year old reminder that the universe is vast, violent, and utterly indifferent to our survival. We are just tiny observers, watching from a distance, hoping the king stays on his throne and far away from us. If this journey into the cosmic horror of Jupiter changed the way you see our solar system, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep space discoveries. Your support keeps these missions going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.